Yes, there's a certain irony in Tailor Made, the track that was golden, Kendrick Lamar taunting him, right? To respond to Drake's push up being the track that kind of did him in this legal matter. But however, what's interesting about this, as I read all 38 pages of the judge's order and opinion, was that they considered all of the diss tracks. And I think that part is really, really interesting. Let's get into that. So I'm not gonna go in order. I just want to reference the tailor-made portion first, right? About page 19 here, okay, where the judge says, and I highlighted this portion, of particular relevance in tailor-made freestyle, Drake challenged Lamar to make the PDF accusations at issue using an artificially generated voice of deceased Tupac. Drake goes Lamar, right? And you guys know the rest. Kendrick, we needed you, a West Coast savior, etc. And then at the bottom here, it says, it is in this context with such lyrics as, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young from the recording must be considered. The similarity in the wording suggests strongly that this line is a direct callback to Drake's lyrics in the prior song. So that's one example where, they're kind of going from one track, calling back to another track, right? Now, I'm going to go through more docs on this video as well as another video that I intend to make as the reason why I think, Drake actually filed this lawsuit. You go ahead and look forward to that. But right there, I just want to stop and address something, right? So, I've been in corporate for a very long time, and many of you have as well. I don't think, a lot of you are attorneys. I'm not an attorney. But for me, this was the steps on how I saw this lawsuit, and I'm going to get to the raps in a second, right? Was at first, I hear billion-dollar company might have did some shady-ish, even though the artist is really popular and powerful himself. I always go, yeah, I'm always suspicious of billion-dollar companies. And as we start doing, revealing of documents as the case proceeds, I start thinking to myself, well, some of these things aren't really making sense, but maybe Drake and his attorneys know that they aren't going to just look at it from a rap context fashion. That there's going to be about other things and legal stuff that I don't know about, right? Like, maybe they're just things that I can't contextualize, right? I can't make sense of, and that's why maybe this case has a chance, etc., right? But then as things started not making sense, as a lot of Drake stans started picking up the narrative that I think Drake's attorneys themselves were trying to push towards the judge, which is to not consider the context of a tailor-made, to not consider that Drake, launched allegations at Kendrick himself that was damning. I was like, oh, okay, this doesn't really sound right. And the judge gets into a lot of that by literally chronicling the battle, right? And this is amazing because I thought at first, this is some legal shit that maybe I just can't quite grasp. But no, you might have thought HQK sat there and explained to the judge exactly how the battle went. And before I show you that chronicling, I actually highlight this, where they say plaintiff argues that the court should ignore the songs that came before and assess not like us as a singular entity. We come down here. There are a number of flaws with this argument. Not like us cannot be viewed in isolation. It must be placed in its appropriate factual context, right? And they reference some older cases here, and then we go back down. The songs must be read together to fully assess how the general audience will perceive the statements in the recording. And when they kind of sort of talk about the factual allegations here, as you can see, I'm not going to read this whole thing for the sake of time. You see here, chronicling the entire thing. We get push-ups here, we get tailor-made here. I don't know whatever interns they hired should have called my phone, but they clearly did a good job though. You get Euphoria here. I hope our Judge Vargas was younger, because if you're an older judge that don't like rap, this might have felt like a waste of time. I would have enjoyed. This is just like me making TikTok videos. You get 616 in LA. They talk about 616 in LA, right? And then we get to the point where they talk about family matters and a response meet the grams. Then they get to not like us. And other than Taylor Made, another track that I believe did him in as well, believe it or not, was the Hard Part 6. I'll tell you why. And here's the thing. So after they list the stuff from Not Like Us, right? They tell you on May 5th, 2025, after Kendrick's record dropped, they say Drake responded in Hard Part 6. I think they meant 2024 here. Whoever is journaling in court, get it together. But anyway, it says, directly denying Lamar's allegations of, PDF stuff. And they quote I never been with nobody underage, etc., blah, blah, blah. And for me, you know what I'm saying? You go down in the track, Drake further sneers that the Epstein angle was the ish that he expected. So there's a lot of irony there, and being able to quote your own lyrics in the context of a rap battle, in court, right? And I just want to go here. If you read at the top, hopefully you guys, it's not cropped, but you can see it. It says the forum. And, the court considers the forum in which the defamatory statements appear, as that is a useful gauge for determining whether a reasonable reader would treat it more readily as opinion and fact. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself. Maybe I should have just went to law school for thinking that, I don't know, just because something is legalese and it's court, that they won't sometimes use common sense. And I highlighted at the bottom here, the form here is a music recording, and particularly a rap diss track with accompanying video and album, more akin to forms like YouTube and X, which, it has an anything goes writing style rather than journalistic reporting. The average listener, will know that this is a diss track. It's not a product of thoughtful journalism. And, it's not conveying to the public that it's fact-checked, verifiable content. Now, the thing with that is a lot of Drake stands I see, you're taking this and saying, well, the judge is saying that no reasonable person should think this. And I flip that and say the same thing should apply to, what Drake said about Kendrick Lamar. And I think most people that tease you about this stuff and whether or not they're calling Drake a PDF file, and I don't get into that stuff, they're doing that because they know on the flip side, you guys are going to do the same thing, saying witness getting beat, etc., and the kids might not be Dave Freeze, right? That's just Stan Wars, right? But if you want to say that, it makes you feel better. But I think most reasonable people, and if Drake himself had let this just kind of like it's a rap battle, we'll just go, yeah, like, all right, there might be, some stuff that you do that people can use against you. That's the nature of rap battles. Like, did you record a song on We Cry Together where you arguing with a woman on Mr. Morale and Big Steppers, and that's what Drake decided to use against you? Okay, do you have on Drake's side, you got somebody saying something about texting you and she's of a certain age and somebody can use it against you. Don't mean, I'm not into that. I'm not into that part of it. But what I'm trying to say is the nature of rap battle and people forgetting is people do take things and make it exaggerated. And the court is telling you here to consider the forum, right? To consider that. Also, I'm not going to go through this much, but they do ask you to consider tone and language. That the recording can only be reasonably understood as opinion, as reinforced by the language employed in the song, right? And I guess that's what rap kind of save you on that, right? Now, one thing I want to point out, I don't know what page this is, but this is 25 of 38, is where the court, holds based upon a full consideration of the context in which Not Like Us was published, that a reasonable listener could not have concluded that Not Like Us was conveying objective facts about Drake. Then they reference certain posts and tweets that I guess Drake's attorneys, had shown and say, hey, this is how certain users think about Drake, and I guess examples. And it says the views expressed by these users and the other YouTube and Instagram commentators quoting the complaint do not alter the court's analysis, right? In a world in which billions of people are active online, support for almost any proposition, no matter how far-fetched, fantastical or unreasonable, can be found with little effort in any amount of comment sections, chat room, and servers, right? And to go along with that, with page 36, I want to highlight something here because they start talking about the practices that they may have used, the label may have used to promote Not Like Us. But again, we're referencing online commentary here and just kind of connect these two dots. While these covert practices of providing financial incentives to undisclosed third party and leveraging of business relationships, if they exist, may be facts that are peculiarly within the possession and control of UMG. Plaintiff's allegation, Drake and his teams, based on what boils down to unreliable online commentary, do not form a sufficient factual basis such that there is a reasonable expectation that discovery will reveal evidence of illegality. And that's just not good. That's the judge against letting you know, these things that you're bringing to me, one commentary about Drake, the other about, bot and deceptive practices, they come from online sources, Reddits and things like that, that we're not going to take, as word. But yeah, now I know Drake and his team have said they're gonna appeal, but reading those 38 pages for me just comes off a little damning. Like outside of non-actionable opinion stuff, it looks like the judge really, considered a lot and said, "Yo, you lost a rap battle in court as well."